Hi and welcome back. I'm Michael Worthington and welcome back to the show. Well, so many of us in business, we're passionate about what we do, we're passionate about our customers, and I've got someone in the studio that helps us, and well, his website is called Doing Work That Matters. And when I saw that, I thought, wow, got to get Martin in the studio. Martin from Arto. How are you, Martin?
I'm good, thanks, Michael, and excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to share my message.
That's okay. Martin, just before we get into the actual doing work that matters, which I'm really, really fascinated to get into, just a little bit of your background. Where did you come from? How did you get into this in the first place?
That's a good question, Michael. As a child, I remember having an interest in knowing how things worked, so I often take things apart. The problem was sometimes I couldn't put the thing back together again. And this interest led me to university to study engineering. So after I graduated, I worked as an engineer for over 20 years, and I slowly climbed up the corporate ladder into management. And I noticed that my passion for engineering had faded, and I became a person who valued image, title, power, control, ego, money, and as a result I felt unhappy, unfulfilled, uninspired, and my life lacked meaning and direction.
Martin, it's interesting when you say that to me, and I see you now and you are fulfilled, you're inspired. Do you think sometimes we grow up in a world where we're preconditioned to just do something? Like mum and dad said, well, you've got to get a trade, or you've got to go to uni, get this engineering degree. This is how life is. Earn your money, get a wife, get some kids, buy the big house, get a boat, and go on holidays once a year. There you go, that's your life. It's all sorted out for you, mate.
All pre-planned, exactly, Michael. And that's what happened to me also. My parents weren't professional people. They, my mother was a cleaner, my dad was a labourer, and they thought for me to have a better life is to get an education. So they did encourage to go to school, which is fine. And I was passionate about the engineering when I first started. However, over time, things started to change, and I lost interest in the engineering. And I started to feel like something was missing, like something was wrong. I felt like I was stuck and I wasn't growing.
I hear it from a lot of times with business owners, and they talk about it's like this gut feel, like it's just this tight, there's not something, they just can't get rid of it, and they don't know what it is, but they just know it's not right, and they go on this, who can help me to get rid of it?
Yeah.
Was that happening for you? You just stuck in this place and just going, for goodness sake, what do I need? And is that what caused you then to go out and start looking at different avenues and what was available?
Yes, exactly. That's what I felt. I felt stressed. I felt frustrated. I used to go home and reach for a beer in the fridge to try and change my state. And I'm sure there's a few people that do that today. And also I used to sit in front of the television and watch the news and feed my mind with negativity. And I just felt I couldn't go on like this. Something had to change. And what I found was that pain is a great motivator, much better than pleasure.
How many people do we find, and look, I'll hold my hand up because I've been on this journey myself, we come to work and then we just go home to rest and just veg out and just let the mind not do anything, so I'm prepared to go back to work again the next day, and then you wake up one morning going, why am I doing this? I'm meant to come home and actually enjoy my life.
Yes, that's right. It's important to have meaning in your life. So what I did, because I wasn't feeling too well or good about myself, I did some introspection, and I realised that I always had a passion for personal development and helping people. And I felt that if I wasn't making someone else's life better, I was wasting my time. Now, I know some of your listeners might be thinking, come on Martin, pull the other one. But it's true, and I'll tell you why. It's because I'm selfish. Aren't we all? I mean, down deep inside, everything we do for ourselves. And I know that the more people I help, the happier I become, the healthier I become, and the more money I make. And if you've heard of Zig Ziglar, you'll know that he said you can have everything you want in your life if you just help enough people get what they want in their life.
Exactly. And I've been asked this about the radio station, so what motivates you about the radio station? Well, it is helping people with getting content for podcasts, getting their personal message out there and their business branding out there. But of course I get fulfilled as well, because I love sitting across the table with people like yourselves and discovering people's journeys. I go home and go, oh, I met Martin today, you want to hear this? He was an engineer and now he does this, and he helps people become more fulfilled, and people go, an engineer doing that that doesn't seem to gel. Do you
Yes,
get that
yeah,
sometimes?
that's what I've heard from a few people. But you're spot on. I mean, you must love your job here because you're meeting different people, you're learning different things, and the same for me with the life coaching. So what happened is my passion for learning about people started to grow. I wanted to understand how people worked, what drove them, what made them successful. So what I did is I checked with Dr. Google and I realised that there's an industry called life coaching. And I ended up signing up for a course with the Life Coaching Institute of Australia. I became a certified life coach.
Now, that's just for our listeners that may, I mean, they may have heard of business coaches, you know, and sports coaches, and, you know, we hear coaches all over. What is particular about a life coach? What do they actually bring to the table? What makes them special?
Yeah. Well, life coach is more general coaching. Like I coach people in 4 areas of life. Generally, it's your self-image, your health, your relationships, or your money situation. But lately, I've been specialising in helping people find and do work that they love. So it is more or less the same process. However, you do use different techniques depending on the situation.
So is this really helping people become who they really want to become and get that fulfillment from within themselves?
Yes, what I've found is there's different areas to your life. However, we do spend a lot of our time at work. So I think to have an extraordinary life, you've got to have an extraordinary work. And that's why I try and get people to do work that they are passionate about, and I feel that that actually helps solve the other areas of your life in terms of your health, your relationships, and your money situation.
Well, it certainly makes sense. I mean, all the time, you know, we hear a lot of the time, you know, you better get out and just enjoy your life, you know, just go to work, earn the money, but come home. What you're saying is, oh, hold on, both are really, really important. If you can have a great time at work and a great time at home, your life's fantastic.
That's right. And if you are happy with your work, like you said, you're going to go home happy, and you're going to have better relationships with your partner, your children. You're going to be nicer to people. The world's just going to be a different place if everyone loved the work that they do.
Do you find when you start working with people, because obviously people will be listening going, well, where do I start? And we'll get to that in a moment. But when you start working with them, do you find that it's just preconceived blocks and it's your job to start just to open them up and so they can look at it from a different perspective?
Exactly, that's spot on. That's what coaching is all about. My role is twofold. One is to create awareness, because people just aren't aware sometimes. They're deep in the forest and not aware where they are and where they're going. So I help them get clear on that. And also the second part is responsibility. I hold people accountable and help them to achieve their goals. Now, one thing I learned in coaching is that success leaves clues. Do you know, Michael, what the biggest difference is between a successful person and an unsuccessful person?
Well, I would say having clear goals, but probably asking really good questions.
Yes, both of those. Now, a successful person has an open mind, whereas an unsuccessful person has a closed mind. And you can easily pick the unsuccessful person in the room, because they'll be the one sitting there with their legs crossed, arms folded, thinking, what the hell is this joker going to teach me that I don't already know? And from what I can see here today in the studio, we've only got successful people.
Well, it is interesting, you know. I come across people all the time that will say, well, you can't do that, and you can't do this, and I'm going, but you know what? There's someone in the world today that's actually doing it, so
Exactly.
it's not true. You know, they say, well, the economy is tough, this is tough. There are more millionaires, and you'd know this, there's more millionaires caused in a recession or creating a recession than any other time. Why? Because as you say, that open mindset, and the recession caused a lot of us to contract. Open-minded and successful people are always looking at expansion, say new worlds, new opportunities. And I'm always a big thing that if everything is changes are constant, we hear that all the time. Well, if everything's changing, then there must be new opportunities all the time, surely.
Yes, exactly. There is opportunities, and like you said before, there are people doing well in an industry that you're interested in. You just got to go and find those role models and model what they're doing. And if they can do it, you can do it, because we're all more or less the same. It all comes down to being clear on what you want and overcoming your obstacles and challenges.
You're really passionate. What I'd like to know is your new website that you've created. You've been doing this for a while now, but doing work that matters. What does that mean to you, and what do you hope that people listening go, that's what it means to them? What is it all about?
Yeah, it's all about basically being yourself, finding your passion and giving it to the world. I mean, after my values today are health, family, friends, learning, contribution, fun and freedom. And as a result, I feel happy, inspired, fulfilled, and I do feel that my life has meaning and purpose. I believe that our work gives us the opportunity to be fulfilled and to live a life of meaning, because a life of meaning is to grow and contribute and to do work that matters. Also, I don't know if you've heard of Albert Pike. Albert Pike said that what we do for ourselves dies with us, what we do for others remains and is immortal. That's a very powerful statement. Now with our work can fall into one of three levels. The first level is called a job. Sometimes people say it stands for just over broke. The second level is career, and the third level is mission. Now, if you've got a job, the chances are you don't like what you do and you're just doing it to collect a paycheck. However, if you've got a career, then you're more satisfied in your work. However, it's more about yourself. Now, if you have a mission, then it's bigger than yourself. It's the most rewarding and fulfilling thing that you can do. So to be fulfilled, you need to grow and contribute. You need to be like a fruit tree that grows and bears fruit for others. Michael, do you know what our mission here is on earth?
When you caught me up, I'm not used to being asked the questions. Well, our mission here on earth is to find our true purpose and fulfill it.
That's right. Our mission is so simple. You're going to kick yourself when you hear it. Our mission is just to become ourselves. Now, there was a lady by the name of Bronnie Ware. I don't know if you heard of her. She's an Australian palliative care nurse, and she found that the top regret of the dying was not living a life true to yourself and instead living a life that others expected of you. So I believe that the best way to live a life that's true to yourself is to find your passion, develop it, and give it to the world. And that's my message. Find your passion, develop it, and give it to the world.
I think that's absolutely sensational. I am conscious of your time, Martin, but find your passion and give it to the world. I don't think you could have summed it up better, but we must get you back because you've got so much more to talk about. And look, I really appreciate you coming in today. It's Martin from Martel, and it's doing work that matters, but even I think I would say it's beyond success. It's when you get success and then beyond that getting actual total fulfillment in all areas of your life. I really appreciate you coming in, Martin. That was really, really good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
So I guess the main thing now is that people are listening and I've been inspired, and I suppose people going, how do I get in contact with Martin and what is the process? How do they contact you, Martin, and what is the process of when they do?
Yes, well, people can contact me. Simple, they can go to my website at www.doingworkthatmatters.com. And in terms of coaching, basically I can do the coaching through Skype because I coach people overseas, on the phone, or even face-to-face if they're in Perth.
Brilliant. Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Martin from Doing Work That Matters. Really great having you on the show.
Thank you, Michael. It's been a pleasure. I enjoyed the interview, and let's all work together to change the world by doing work that matters. Let's find our passion, develop it, and give it to the world. Thank you.